Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood. This video, I'm going to try and address a request from one of the viewers like, teach me how to do that. Well, we're going to be looking at designing with primitives. It's not that difficult, and it really does make things a lot easier in Lightburn when you can recognize a shape as a combination of primitives. So stick around. This should be a pretty entertaining and interesting video. So a couple of my last designs were really kind of basic designs, but they turned out, really nice projects. And folks are like, man, how did you come up with that shape? How did you get to there? Now, I'm going to show you how I come up with this particular shape in this video. And I showed you in one of the last videos how I created this shape. And this was created from just a basic rectangle, because that's what I see here is a rectangle. The perimeter, the shape. And this particular piece is a multi-layered piece. And when you're doing layered, well, that one too, that one's 3 layers or more. And when you're doing layered shapes, it really is to your benefit to keep every layer perfectly symmetrical if you're going to be stacking those. So, and where that can be a problem is if the white layer was not symmetrical to the red layer. If the right side of it was a little askew of the left side, and whenever you go to glue it up, well, they're not going to line up perfectly, or if you have it flipped the wrong way. So if you painted this all white and was ready to assemble it and then go and stack, oh, I painted the wrong side. So making sure everything's symmetrical can make assembly processes go a lot smoother whenever you're doing layered pieces. And instead of trying to create an entire image, one whole piece, sometimes I'll create just one half of one side, or create one side of it, then duplicate it, mirror it, and then weld those together, and now that's going to be symmetrical because it's the same side, just duplicated. But when you work with primitives in Lightburn, a lot of times that's not a necessary step. So let's jump in here, and a lot of people are like, well, I just don't see that. So we're going to go over to Hobby Lobby and look at some of their signs that they have on their website right now and see if I can help you begin to see the primitives. And by primitives, a circle, a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a primitive shape. We're not going to be looking at the overall image, but try to find the 2 or 3 or more primitive shapes that were combined to make the overall ending shape. So let's jump over here to Hobby Lobby. Now, some of these are quite basic. Here you got an oval, but you may or may not see this, but this is not a symmetrical oval. This is a little bit, well, to me it's a lot asymmetrical. This end of this oval does not mirror this end of this oval. And they may want it that way. That may have been how the original design was, I don't know. But that one's a little askew. That's another oval. Here's just a simple rectangle with 4 radius on each corner. So these shapes are not difficult to recreate. Then we come on down here and you've got another rectangle, a circle. This one is a little bit more complex. It's not terribly difficult, because really what I see here is one rectangle that makes up the majority of the bone, and then 4 ellipses that create the round nodes on the end of that rectangle. So that one would not be that difficult to create. Another circle, rectangle. Here I see a rectangle and a triangle. A tall, skinny rectangle with a triangle welded to it. Easy enough. Now here we're getting into something a little bit more complex. The Sunoco sign and this, it's weird being the same age as old people. Those are more complex designs, but they're actually extremely easy to replicate in Lightburn without having to do any scanning or tracing. Because here on Sunoco, I see a diamond laying on its side for the large part of the background. Then the Sunoco, these 2 pieces right here, I see a rectangle with 4 radii, and then these 2 lines, top and bottom, are sucked in or pulled into the top or to that rectangle. Then the arrow is made up of 1, 2, 3 rectangles. You say that's a point. Well, yeah, it is, but I see 3 rectangles. In fact, we'll go create this Sunoco sign and this tray over here. The tray is a rectangle with 4 radii and 2 circles. That one's actually really easy too. That's not difficult at all. The Sunoco is a little bit more challenging, so let's go over and look in Lightburn at trying to replicate this image. In fact, what I'm going to do, just for giggles, so we're not toggling back and forth, I'm going to copy this image and come over here to Lightburn, and we're going to just paste that image in here so it's there for reference to look at. Or, you could trace it, but when you trace it, you're going to be increasing the chances of the symmetry being off, it not being proportional. You're not going to have exact lines or straight lines. And when you're cutting with a laser, at least for me, I want things to be perfect. So let's take a look at creating this piece. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, like I said, I see a diamond right here. So if I take and just draw out a rectangle, I've got to put it on, let's put it on a cut path. There we go. You know what, put it on a black path and in line mode. All right, now, let's see here. First thing I'm going to do is go to my selector tool, and also people have asked me about these buttons down here at the bottom. Move, size, rotate, and shear. Well, you've got these control buttons around your image. You got this one here where you can draw and drag and stretch out the size of your rectangle. You got 4 of them all the way around the perimeter. But then you've also got, this one over here is the 4th one. But then you've got 2 smaller ones right here. And these are your rotate and, not your rotate, these are your shear controls. See, I just turned off shear down here. So now I turned it back on. So now you see these right here. And you can shear this to stretch a piece in a given direction. So, okay. And then there's the shear up here. Now this is just one way that you would create a diamond in Lightburn. There are, as I say all the time, there's always another way. Always another way. But that's using the shear feature. And now I'm going to rotate it. And I don't know if that's perfectly symmetrical or not, but here's what you can do. If you go up here to your gears, turn on show full line cursor and say okay. Now that's going to create a cursor that gives you a line completely across your X and your Y. And now what you can do is line up and see, is your piece symmetrical or not. That's one way you can do it. As I said, there's always another way. I'm not a big fan of the full line cursor, so I'm going to turn that back off and say okay. But now Lightburn has, in 1.5, they created these guidelines that you can go up here and grab one and bring it down. And I'm going to put it right there. And I'm actually going to zoom in and I'm going to move it right onto the corner of that triangle. Now if I scroll out, you can see how unsymmetrical or asymmetrical, how asymmetrical this diamond is. Now I'm going to come over here and grab one on the Y and bring it over here. And that snapped right to the corner, so that's good. And you can see it is asymmetrical. So if you want to correct that, you just come back to your shear, and we're going to shear that. And it's moving both at the same time, so you got to kind of split the difference. And this is why I will create a half of a piece, duplicate it and mirror it, because then I don't have to worry about it being perfectly symmetrical or not. It is. So there you can see it's still not quite right. So it just depends on how picky you want to be. And I am very, very picky. I went too far. I zoomed out too far. That's close, but this one up here is still pretty far off, and they're going to go kind of hand in hand, so let's get them together. Now I'm just being really, really ADD. Another way you can do this, go to your nodes. Now because this is a square, or it was a square, it is a primitive shape, or it's not a primitive shape, right? You're going to have to convert it to a path. And now you can see nodes. So now you could just take and draw that node up to your toolpath, and now she is both on the toolpath on the X and the Y. And then it's a matter of, okay, is that the right height you want? And we're going to go with that. I'm going to delete those two lines. So there's the first basic triangle, or diamond I should say, and now I'm going to create a square or a rectangle using the square tool, and I'm going to come up here and draw out the basic shape to begin with, and now I'll start playing with the size of it. And it's going to be considerably smaller. Holding my control button and drawing in both sides at the same time. Now I'll use my new radius tool ability in 1.5 to come over here to this blue dot and create a radius. And it's kind of a sharp one. about like that. Now I'll hold my shift button and select my diamond and make sure that they're centered. There we go, that's perfectly centered. Now I need to give some downward turn to this line here. So I'm going to come back to this tool, go to my nodes. Again, you don't see any nodes because it was drawn with the square tool. So you have to convert it to a path. Right click, convert to a path, show my nodes. Now I'm going to use the letter M and the letter M to insert a node in the middle. I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to now hover over each one of them and hit the letter S for smooth on both of those. Now on this one, I'm going to select just that node, and I've got my move set to 5 millimeters. So 5 millimeters will be how far I move with my arrow. So I'm going to come up 1. Let's see how much. Oh, you know what? Look at that. You gotta pay attention. The bottom does not have any turn down on it. Only the top one does. I missed that. So let's go back to where that was. In fact, I don't need that, so I've got that selected. I'll hit the letter D and delete that one. Select that, and now I'm going to come down 5. 1. Come down another. And now that I look at that, that looks like more of a straight line where that's got a curve to it. So let's come back to this node and hit the letter L. And again, I missed the center. There we go. That looks more like that. So that's now a line. All I did was just pull that straight down. That looks better. All right. Now I need an arrow, and I said 3 rectangles to create that. So I've got, and it looks like the middle part is half of the width of the total feathers of the arrow, I guess, if that was, and probably the tip of the arrow as well. So let's do this. Let's draw out a rectangle. Get a rectangle tool. I'm going to draw out a rectangle, and we're going to set this one to 10 millimeters height. Now I know the thickness of the one I've drawn, and now I'm going to draw a rectangle that'll be 20 millimeters in height. And then another one, actually, you know what, we'll just duplicate this one. Control D, duplicate, and move it down to the end of that one. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. All right, now let's, in fact, and these points of this arrow are behind where this rectangle would be if there's a straight line there. So I do need to keep this one back behind there. In fact, I want to, and does this one the same way? Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing with both of them. So I'm going to, first I'm going to dock it right up to that rectangle. So dock it to the left. This one, I'll dock it to the right. Now make sure they're all on the horizontal centers. There we go. Now I'm 5 millimeters in and 5 millimeters in. Now I need to make an arrow tip. So what I'm going to do is convert that to a path so I can see some nodes. Turn on my node editor. I'm going to use the letter M for middle and M for middle. And now I will select both of these. Actually, you know what? first thing I need to do is select this one and hit the letter D. Letter D. And now just simply hold my, see how where my movements are. With the shift arrow, I need to be moving, let's do 2.5 millimeters. Let's say okay. So 1, 2, actually just 5 would have worked. That took it right back up there. And then this one, I need convert it to a path. Right click, convert to path, show my nodes, middle node M and M. Now I can select both of those and let's move it in a total of 5 millimeters. And actually we're going to move it in 10 millimeters. There we go, that's better. Alright, so now there's an arrow by simply selecting both of those. Weld them together, select those, weld them together, select these, weld them together. Now select this arrow and I'm going to rotate it, looks like maybe 45 degrees. Put it in the center. 45 might have been a bit much. And it's not quite long enough. The arrow's not. So let's rotate it back negative 45 degrees. And let's make it a little bit bigger. And we can begin to rotate it. Let's put it in the center. There we go. Now we'll select it and begin to rotate it. And that's a little bit big because the arrow, the offset's actually connected. So let's undo that rotate and shrink it down a little bit. And let's rotate it 40 degrees. Now that looks pretty good, 40 degrees. Yep, I'm going to make it just a wee bit shorter. So I'll undo that and I'm going to hit Control and draw it in some and rotate it 40 degrees. Yeah, oh, is that too close? Yeah, that's too close up there. So undo that and we'll take it back out holding the Control and rotate. Again, my OCD working in here. That'll work. Now, if I weld those to this, I've got the basic outline of that Sunoco sign. And I did that with nothing more than the rectangle tool on that one. As far as creating shapes. Didn't draw anything, didn't trace anything. Now, if I wanted to create offsets of each of those, I should have done that before I welded them all up. And then what you would do here, you come back in here, select just your arrow, do an inward offset. Do not delete the original. Say OK. What just happened there? I hit canceled or not OK. OK, there we go. And now select the originals and weld them together. And you'd have your outline. But here you wouldn't want to have that arrow going all the way through there. So undo, so duplicate, Control D, duplicate that. Now select, let's see, we're going to select this one. the offset, because that's the one we're going to keep to see the, you'll see. So select that one, hold your shift button and select one of those duplicates on top, and edit tools, rather, cut shapes. And then the ants are going to be going around this piece here, but we want to keep that piece. So we're going to come here to this one and hit the delete button. Now we will weld the originals. And if I had duplications of the others and the offsets, then I could have welded all those together. And cut shapes might not have been the best option there. Let's go back to that, but actually, you know what? I need to have a duplicate, because right now I've just got one of these, because you can see the ants. When you create a duplicate on top of itself, it's hard to see those ants now. But if I didn't create the duplication, if I used just the original and used this piece to use the Boolean tools, what happens? That's not the result I want. That's not the result I want. Neither is that. That is, but now my outer shape is gone. So cancel. Create a duplicate. Control D. Duplicate that. Now your tools, Boolean assistant, and say OK. Now weld these two, and that would give you more like that. And like I said, I should have created an offset of each of those shapes before I welded them together in order to be able to come up with this offset like the rest of them. This one I can actually create an outward offset. Outward, say OK. And there it creates that connection just like they've got there. I'm just missing, but can I do, let's see what happens when I go with an inward offset. Let's see, where is that? Yeah, I'm close, but I should have created an offset of my diamond before I welded it to the other rectangle. But there you go. There's that basic shape. Very quickly done in real time in Lightburn using some very, very basic tools. So let's select all of this and delete all that hard work. Now we'll go back over here to Hobby Lobby. And it's weird being the same. It's weird being the same age as old people. Copy image, back into Lightburn, and let's just paste it for reference. Like I said, you can trace this, but the trace tool is going to get it close, but it's not going to be perfect. No matter how good that trace tool is, it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical, because camera angles and the photographs and all kinds of things can change the shape and the symmetry. So like I said, I see a rectangle and a couple of ovals. And instead of coming down here and try and draw another one to help maintain that symmetry, Control D, duplicate that, and just drag it down here. Now what I'll do, I know I can grab this arrow right here and put it, in fact, if I want to look for it right there, there's the center line. Once I got that round circle in my crosshairs, that's going to be on its horizontal center. But to make absolutely sure, I grab both of those and then this one and tell them to go to horizontal centers. There you go. But now this is not on the actual center line of that, so that's why I'm going to use my cursor to grab that and come in here and look for that circle right there. And I will group both of these. And I will try to, let's see here, just because I'm going to be engraving this, and this is actually a three-dimensional metal tray they've stamped out. So to kind of create that illusion, and we got radiuses on the corner, or radii on the corners. So let's do that. Now so do an offset inward, and let's do 10 millimeters and do round. It's really not showing up round like I'd like it to. So being that this is an offset, it's probably not going to have the radii tool on it. So let's take a look. Yeah, so it's not giving us a radii. So what I would do, you can do that. That's not going to be exact. Because I did well, I don't know what I did, because I used this dragging scale to create the radii. So undo, we'll take it back to there, and now that I've got a value of 10, we'll create that. And then if you do an offset of 10 millimeter, it's still not giving, and I've got the round option selected here, but it's not giving me a round, it's not giving me that round radii. And how is it? Yeah, and see, this one has a round radius in there. So cancel that. And what I'll do then instead is say Control D, duplicate it, and then just hold my control button and drag it down. But it's not doing it, even though I'm holding the control button, I'm getting more of a gap. Is that not in the center? Yeah, it's centered. Alright, so now I'm going to hold my control button and stretch it back out this way. And I just eyeballing it to what looks good. Now for that one, if I do an offset, will it give me a radius inward? No, it's not giving me an inward radius at all. So I will just duplicate it again. Control D, duplicate it again. And this one I will bring it down just a wee bit. Okay. Alright, so that gives me that line. Do I want to have... No, I'm not going to bother with that. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is draw a circle, a perfect circle, by holding my shift button. Then select it, select that, and make sure that they're on the horizontal centers. And to make sure that it's, you know what, I will ungroup those and dock that. No, I won't dock it, I'll align it. So align it to the left side of that. Now I've got my move function 5 millimeters, that's too far. So control arrow is 2.5 millimeters. It's supposed to be 2.5 millimeters. What's going on there? Oh, I was hitting control. All right, I was messing up, wasn't following my own directions. So now I've got a line. Shift arrow is 2.5 millimeters. Control D, duplicate that. Align it to the right of this one. Now hold my shift button and bring that one in 2.5 millimeters. Now I can weld these. And mine is more rectangular than theirs is. That's okay, because if I group all that and then just hold my control button, I can stretch that out like so and get it more square than rectangular. But there is basically the same shape. So that's what I look for when I'm creating designs. In fact, let's jump back into Lightburn and I'll show you how I did this piece and why I did this piece the way I did it. Because this is designed to be a door plaque, like hanging on the kid's door. You know, identify this as, you know, John's room, Chris's room, and I wanted something more than. I just wanted more than a basic rectangle attached to a circle. So let's jump back over here to Lightburn real quick. Get rid of all that hard work. Delete. So for that nameplate, holding my shift button, draw out a perfect circle. Then go back to my rectangle tool. Draw out a rectangle. And I wanted my rectangle to be just a little bit narrower than the overall width of the diameter of that circle. So if my circle is 164 millimeters, this is 146. So it is just a little bit. I'm actually going to make sure my aspect ratio is locked, and we'll make that 180. And we'll make that 140. All right. Now, you could just align those to each other and then move this up a little bit and then weld those together. But to me, that's not quite as aesthetically pleasing, and I don't know, it may or may not be weaker than the way I went, but I just didn't like the way that looked in and of itself. So I'm like, okay, let's not do that. So instead, what I did was draw another rectangle. Put it in the center. Then I took and actually I came this way and created these radii. In fact, you can take it all the way down. Then I drug this up to where the points were inside the circle. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Keep the points inside the circle. Too far. That's inside. That's inside. Make sure she's still in the center. Then I welded those together. Then Alt-Shift-V, Alt-Shift-Vertical. That brings that up. And then weld those together. And I like that better. Now, before I welded any of it, actually I want to do an offset, 10 millimeters, say okay. This one will do an offset And actually I want to put some radius or radii on this. I don't want to, yeah, there we go, like that. So now I've got that. We'll do an offset. Two and a half. Okay. Now I can weld everything up. In fact, I don't even need that one. Alt Shift V and weld. And now these two pieces could actually be a second layer that would go on top of this, as I did with my Rockosaurus, just to give it more depth, more character, a more substantial piece. Now what I did and what I would encourage you to do is, while that's centered where it needs to be, duplicate that, Control D, duplicate it, bring this over here, and then put this on a different layer. These are actually going to be cutouts, this and this. We'll put them on the red layer for cuts. And then that would be an engrave line that you would engrave very, very lightly, just to have a placement for where you're going to put this piece. Once you've got your overall design on here, it'll help you place that right where it needs to be. And you do the same thing down here with this one if you wanted to, but this one isn't quite so difficult to do because it's just going to be 2.5 millimeter from the top and bottom. You can see it and feel it a lot easier than you could trying to get that centered up perfectly within that circle. So hopefully you found this informative. Hopefully you learned a little something, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. I want to give another great big shout out to all of my patrons. Your support is what keeps me going, and if you would consider becoming a patron, I would greatly appreciate it. My patrons, the gold level patron, it is $20 a month, and if you like my designs, it is well worth the $20 a month, because I'm dropping down new designs every week, sometimes multiple times a week, that I'm putting on the website hobowithwood.com, and they're selling for $4 and $5 and up. Some of them are selling for $12 and $15 a piece. And for $20 a month, you get all of the designs for free. Bronze gets a 60% discount, and silver gets a 80% discount. So 60 off on bronze, 80 off on silver, 100 off on gold. That's patreon.com/hobowithwood. The website is hobowithwood.com. And in any way that you can find it in your heart to support this humble hobo, it is greatly appreciated. You're going to want to tune in this weekend for the upcoming live stream. Today is March 14th. March the 16th, I've got a live stream scheduled where I'll be doing some leather wrapped flask with the Roly MK2. This will not fit on the laser bed. So it's too tall. You can't raise the laser high enough to get the focus where you need it to be to engrave this material. So what do I do about it? How did I overcome it? Well, we're going to do that live, and I'm going to share the file that I created just to do this. But if you're not doing leather flask, there may be other objects that you're trying to do or would like to do, but you don't have clearance if you have the MK2, or if you have another laser that has clearance issues on some of your products. This idea may work for you. My file won't work for you. My file is going to be Roly MK2 specific. But the idea, the concept would work on any laser. I do have a guest appearance scheduled to be here. And I've got my, I'm going to break the seal on my homemade pineapple moonshine to see what that's like. If it's really good, I'll be sharing that recipe with you too. But there'll be quite a few squirrels in that live stream. You can always count on squirrels. But fingers crossed, the scheduled guest will make an appearance, and it should be fun and entertaining for all. My demographic is going to be perfect for this guest. A lot of people would like to have been him. A lot of people for multiple reasons. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, thank you to my patrons, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys in the next live stream. Oh, you know what? And I'm just a reminder, I haven't been saying this enough. My 2-year anniversary is coming up in June, and I will be giving away a Roly Lasermatic in the live stream. In that live stream, I will be giving away a Roly to someone who is in the live stream watching. And it's not limited to the US. All you got to be is there, be present, be watching, and somebody's going to get to take home one of the best, if not the best, diode lasers on the market today. I don't know which Roly it's going to be, because it's going to be in June when we go to give it away. So availability, what is available, don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be a Roly, and it, no matter what you get, it's going to be a Cadillac. So you want to be subscribed to this channel, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the live streams. The live streams on Saturdays are alternating 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. time zone or time slots. I do that so I can try and accommodate European viewers and North American viewers, 2 different hemispheres. So the live stream that I give away the Roly in will be a 9 p.m. live stream. It'll be the Saturday before Father's Day. And the day is missing me, but if you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell, you should be seeing notifications, as long as you have your settings turned on in your phone to receive notifications. So there's multiple steps. Just hitting that bell is not enough. You got to make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and then go up and select all notifications. And then if you're using a smartphone, make sure you are allowing notifications to be pushed to your smartphone from YouTube. Otherwise, you're still not going to get them. Subscribe, like, share, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. For me, my next time here will be live Saturday night, and this one will be 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And I look forward to seeing you and my guest on Saturday night. I'm Steve, Hobo with Wood. See you soon. Thank you.